Widow's Bay premiered on Apple TV on April 29th, 2026, a 10-episode comedy horror series starring Matthew Rhys as the mayor of a cursed New England island. The show resurrects a structure that television abandoned decades ago. Weekly stories that stand on their own, while one serious arc tightens underneath. It also buries its answers in a mystery box so deep that watching this show week to week is a special kind of torture. I'm the real-life Fake Wizard, and this is a Fake Wizard's review of Apple TV's Widow's Bay. If this video brings you any value, hit the subscribe button, as we're posting lots of reviews every single week. Widow's Bay sits 40 miles off the New England coast, a struggling fishing island with no Wi-Fi and spotty cell service, but it does boast the second largest lighthouse in America. Matthew Rhys plays Tom Loftus, a widower mayor raising a teenage son and chasing a dream of turning this rock into the next Martha's Vineyard. He lands a New York Times travel writer, and the article hits big across the waves. The local ferry starts arriving full of tourists. The locals to the island warn him that the island is cursed, and they hold the receipts of centuries of plagues, typhoons, sea legends, a masked murderer, and one documented cannibalism incident framed on the Historical Society wall. Tom dismisses all of it, and the strange occurrences start the same week that the tourists start arriving. Stephen Root plays Wick, a boat captain who believes every legend on the island and demands Tom shut down the ferry before the visitors become casualties. Kate O'Flynn plays Patricia, Tom's aggrieved assistant, a loner with a history the town refuses to let her live down. The major conflict of the season is the collision between Tom's tourism dream and the island's appetite. So I came into this show kind of backwards. The 78th Primetime Emmy nominations dropped and went all over Twitter, and Widow's Bay pulled 19 nominations, including Outstanding Comedy Series and a few for the actors. I figured that was worth a look, so I decided to watch it, and having binged the whole first season, Widow's Bay plays like The Office or Community or 30 Rock, a workplace of eccentrics orbiting one exhausted guy, except this workplace also carries horror set pieces and a grief story about a widower raising a son. The cast lands the sitcom half and the horror half in the same scenes, sometimes in the same line. That balance of doing both of those things is great, and while watching the show, I was thinking, oh, I hope this wins all of the awards it's nominated for. The Hollywood Reporter review of this show made a kind of claim that this show is all smirks and no laughs. I don't think they were paying much attention then. Widow's Bay is a thriller that parodies horror movies while running a serious family story underneath, and the parody pays out in proportion to your genre literacy. The quote-unquote jokes are all there to mock horror tropes. The jokes are found in the townsfolk mostly, and they're commentary on living in this haunted town while responding to all the hauntings and chaos. It's very funny if you're a horror fan. Now, there is something very interesting with this show that not a lot of media has, especially today in our world of slop. I call it a buy-in moment, which is a point in experiencing a piece of media where you're not necessarily invested yet, and then something happens where you buy in. A lot of people online talk about the beloved episode of Doctor Who called Blink with the Weeping Angels as an episode for new viewers of Doctor Who to buy into watching that series. Widow's Bay has episode 4, which starts off and feels like it's going to be a filler episode, and it kind of is, but the result of this episode will have you buy into this series, like hands down. And no spoilers about what it is. I would like for you to go in entirely blind. Now, the only reason any of this carries as well as it does is because the cast is kicking butt. Kate O'Flynn plays Patricia as awkward and lonely, resented by the women she grew up beside, and the season hands her the best growth arc on the show. Her focal episodes are the season's best hours, and her arc is the reason I defend this show in an argument. Matthew Rhys sells a mayor who is cowardly on paper but sympathetic on screen, and Stephen Root, after Barry, continues to prove he's an amazing character actor, playing the town doomsayer with the conviction of a man who has read the last page of the book. But not everything is sunshine and rainbows, especially around here. The show carries one structural sin, and it's an intentional writing mechanic, and it also decides how you should watch this show. The writers pace this mystery box story across the full season, so individual episodes hold back too much to satisfy on their own if you're waiting week to week. Watch this show during weekly releases, and you will spend 6 days holding questions the show has zero intention of answering in the next episode. I binge-watched this over a weekend. Without that, I wouldn't have given this show the time of day because the story doesn't move ahead nearly enough in each isolated episode for me to care to come back next time. Even with many of the episodes being their own individual stories, tying into the whole overarching story narrative going on here, there's just not enough answers. It's very annoying. I mean, even by the end, hardly anything has been explained or resolved. Sure, that's to set up for more seasons, but the only reason this season 1 is at all satisfying is because the small threads that it does deliver on, by the end, are earned with characters that are compelling. You want to see what happens next for them. You want to know how they overcome this haunting threat, and the only reason you care and found the characters compelling is because you spent a lot of time with them all at once. If I had to slog through 10 weeks of this, I'd hate everyone and be critical of every character to death. This is a great show if, and only if, you can binge it. Widow's Bay streams on Apple TV. While the season delivers the sharpest sitcom horror hybrid on television, it withholds its answers on a payment plan and closes on a cliffhanger engineered for 5 more seasons at minimum. But overall, renders this season a gotta see it 8.5 out of 10. Have you seen Widow's Bay? What did you think about it? If this review was any value to you, hit the subscribe button. There are many more show finales coming this year, and we look forward to reviewing a lot of them. Until next time, create, innovate, inspire, and cancel your Disney Plus subscription. Bye-bye.